So the message today from Spirit for whoever sees this video, whenever you see it, because timeless, we're trying to keep it as neutral as possible, yet oddly specific. Anyways, hi, I'm Maria. Welcome to my channel. The message today is to remember that real friends, hold on to that feeling, what that beautiful picture looks like. Real friends do not learn your vulnerabilities, your insecurities, your weaknesses to then exploit them, right? They do not try to take and devour what is yours, right? Remember a promise. It feels like you made a promise to yourself to feel like you may have been harsh with yourself when you made this promise to yourself, because the promise that was made was very deep. I'm sorry you guys can't see it, but my little blonde frizzies here are just tickling my whole face. Distracting, overstimulating. There's a beautiful word for you to understand what it feels like for me. There was a promise that you made to yourself to really, you see how my hands closed, almost like in prayer. So maybe you said this in a moment of fill in the blank. Okay? Deepest, darkest, most vulnerable moments. Instead of making a promise to like anyone else, this was a promise you made to yourself to not allow any betrayal to be acceptable in your life. And it feels like you may have people around you who they talk a lot of talk, right? But at the end of the day, the follow through that they have is very self-driven. Okay. Confirmation burp there, which is interesting. That's been happening to a lot of readers. Was that always a thing? Where my OGs at from like the day creation was made? Ancestors, hear me now. All right. You made this promise to yourself because you just had this deep inner knowing, this moment of just knowing that things will not always be like this. Why? Because things are meant to look like that. Okay? And whatever emboldens you, whatever affirms you, confirms for you things that you need, wherever you feel that just your energy, you feel an energy like anchoring you in fully to your moment, fully to yourself, to who you are, to what you feel, to what you think, and ultimately what you know. Okay, this is like an acceptance of knowing, yep, okay, I'm psychic, or yep, I know, I have foresight, like I just know things, right? This is it's you knowing that what you felt, that picture, that final destination, right? You know that you're not there yet. But you know that you're going to have it because you've already been shown this, and you know better than to question yourself already, because you've already seen multiple times throughout your life thus far, you've already seen where you knew that you were right. And when you accept that and acknowledge whatever that means, and then release anything else, even the stuff that comes up that can hurt you, that can really like I'm getting rage, guys. I'm getting rage, like this being consumed by something that feels like it has the power of lightning, right? And what is lightning? It's something created by source, right? It's something so powerful that we don't have control over it. Or do we? Or maybe that you're afraid of that power that you do have, of that foresight, okay? And maybe that's what you need to throw away. You need to know, like, wherever you feel like you've messed up, wherever you feel like someone else has messed up, this and that are true. And you know that no matter what happens, life itself, literally life itself, like life, insert magnificent song that stimulates every human that ever watches it, every entity, period, that ever sees it. It stimulates in them that spark that we all know exists, yet we don't quite have a way to express that everyone agrees on just the word, right? Because that has changed so much based on what we experience and the longer we're here. So whenever you're being real with yourself, okay, and whenever you're basically like writing checks that your mouth cannot cash, can't cash. Oh yeah, there's I'm sorry, I'm laughing because I'm transmuting the energy, because these are things that really gripped your root chakra, and it was like somebody was trying to pull you out of the fucking ground, like roots ripping up. But like what no one saw was there was this root that was so deep that was never once uplifted from the soil. You are still growing, you are still alive, and you will thrive because you know that you are rooted in, you are connected, okay? And the tree is you, so the roots are a part of you. Think of it as like your spark of life, your connection to source, to the origin of all, if you will, okay? I feel that our words, we need to express what that is with a sentence, not a word, okay? And so you know this, and when you know this about yourself, you know it in others around you, and people can't stand that. Like, they can't stand how clearly you see them. They don't realize that it's because of how clearly you see yourself. And right. Like, people, it's almost like people have assumed that you're like this complete opposite of what you actually are. Like, you're not that at all. Whatever that is, whatever's coming to you right now, it's a lie, right? Like, it's an energy that was meant to make you cheat on yourself. Sorry if you can hear my dog, sleeping and partially dreaming. It gets louder, I swear. You're no longer, this feels like you're not gaslighting yourself anymore, to be honest with you. It feels, and wow, he's like sitting up now. He did like a yawn, and his ears are, I wish I could show you, his ears are perked. Oh, let me not look at him. If I look at him, he'll think I'm gonna pet him, and I told him, oh, my bad. I'm trying to move to like not get in his way and stuff and be ready in case he jumps so we don't lose everything here. If you know, you know. It's like the people, it feels like there have been people around you, and maybe even if, yeah, it's just so connected. It's showing me that you're at a place of accepting that you know what you know, you know what you know because you just know. Claircognizance could resonate with you, which is clear knowing. Literally, you just know. Like, no, nobody told me anything. No, I didn't see anything. I just knew. I just knew. I just had a feeling and I knew. And I trusted that feeling and I followed where that feeling was guiding me and I did what that feeling was guiding me to do. And now I know. You're dropping indecision. It's like you're seeing where, see, 4 of Cups, you see this is the hand of God, because you have to think of the time when the tarot was actually written. Please bear that in mind. So if that terminology with this card and the power that was used when it was created, if that triggers you, you need to go back to this time era and read up on life in that time frame, okay, in that era, because there was something about time frames, okay? And the number 23, very important for someone, but 23 to 65 for everybody, okay? So for a more refined group, I guess you could say, not necessarily refined, listen, don't worry about labels, okay? Because again, the way we use sound in this realm is distorted. It's the best way that I can explain it to you. Our perception of it has been altered. And in order to get back to that, we all have to be able to go somewhere where it's literally just the sound of our environments. But at the same time, because we have been doing that as a collective, as a whole, we know that others have been doing it, right? And what you are is what you attract, right? Because we are energy. So what vibe is your energy in? Like, are you in anxious, sort of stressed energy? Because my dog's like pacing. He thinks there's something magnificent going on outside, but like, he doesn't realize, like, if it's time to eat, they'll come get you. So you just need to sit here and relax and not get all desperate, right? So it's an example. Like, the dog could be how you've been. Maybe you stressed easily about things, and it's like you were taxing yourself. But in doing that, you were allowing people around you to tax your energy, right? And this is now like closed off. I can't really snap, so don't come at me. Leave me alone. I got picked on enough about that as a kid, okay? Release that. So the promise you made to yourself was to be real with yourself. That is as human as I can possibly say it to you right now, so that everyone can understand it and feel it and know it and be guided by it, however it is that they need to be guided, whether that's being triggered or being stimulated, right? Maybe you think it's triggering, but it's actually stimulating and you're confusing the two, right? Maybe it's because it's making you feel something that you don't want to feel. So you're fighting against that energy, not wanting to accept it. But it's the hand, the universal hand, the hand of God, literally that thing that you know that is there inside of you that you don't quite know what to call. You don't quite know how to identify it. You don't quite know how to explain it. You just know that you know. You can't be afraid of what it brings to you when you follow that, right? Because everything you want is on the other side of fear. And it could be as simple as acknowledging that you accept some things and actually, not just accept, but like I'm seeing an energy like drawing in, right? Like a wind pushing the leaves in a specific direction. So it's being brought in. Okay. Yeah. It's like, na 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 na. What's that Ariana Grande song? Is it Ariana Grande? I don't know. I'm so sorry. Just like magic. Na 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 na. Anything, snap my fingers. Basically, I get what I want. It's like I get what I want. Why? Because you promised yourself that you were going to be true to yourself. And being true to yourself means actually speaking your truth out into the world the best way that you know how. Always keeping in mind that what you give, you get. So the more gentle you are with people, the more gentle the world will become with you. The more aggressive you are with the world, the more aggressive the world will become towards you, right? Because it is our own energy, our own vibration that we are sending out. So you could be misdirecting certain passions at this time, certain cravings at this time, right? And it's creating frustrations. And so the energies both become so amplified when you can't identify them, right? But it's wanting to be identified. And how is that happening? By the feeling getting stronger, by the knowing growing. And what happens then from there is you remember the promise. What's the promise? That promise is that deep inner knowing that you had, however brief that moment may have been. You know it exists. You know exactly what it looks like, what it feels like, what it means to you. Okay? And people might not always approve of your methods and the way you do it, but you know that you've always been doing You've been doing you. You've been doing life your way. I did it my way. Who was that? Frank Sinatra, Bing Crosby, one of those old crooner, cool voice guys from the like 30s, 40s, 1930s, 1940s. So many dates to remember. Can we just stop with the time? Can we just go in spans already and make this easier? What is the overall theme? Slap that. All right. What was the overall theme? All right, cool. Maybe there's something that you need. There's a need to zoom out. Stop trying to analyze. Stop trying to pick it apart. Remember that the promise you made to yourself is that your dreams can come true because they're your dreams. You wouldn't have them if they weren't your dreams. And you know that your nightmares are not your dreams, but your nightmares are guides. Okay, so if you are someone who does astral travel, you may not be aware yet that you're capable of astral travel, okay? And you can literally be doing it. Well, you know, the daydreamers, the people that sit there, they're not just literally just sitting there checked out like error 404 or loading. No. Do you have any idea? They are traveling through space and time, okay? They are traveling through space and time, and they might not know how to control that yet. So be patient and be kind. And if that's you, be patient and be kind with you, okay? And when you can do that with you, you'll be able to do that with everyone around you. That's the key, okay? And do not be afraid, because you know whatever comes up, no matter how scary, and no matter how many of them come true, okay? You could have prophetic dreams, okay? You could be someone where you have a dream of something and it happens, okay? And when I say you dream it and it happens, I mean you can literally, it's like a skip into the future. Like from the moment, if you're daydreaming or you're actually asleep, right? Whichever one, whatever triggered the connection to the astral and the connection of your focus, you know? However that happened, however it occurs, it's there for a reason. Where did your mind go? Okay? And there's a saying, if you want to know where your heart is, look at where your mind goes when it wanders. That is the promise. Okay? And now I'm seeing like this beautiful, like fantasy picturesque and then just like flames and just ripping it apart, right? So like the perfect picture being ruined. And that's because things are being exposed to you. The deeper you go with yourself, the deeper you go within yourself, the deeper you trust that you know what you know, even if you don't know why you know it yet or how you know it yet, you know that you know for a reason, and you're going to trust it because you felt in that moment, you felt that fear not, right? Be fearless, be brave, be bold, be strong, be compassionate, be wise, be mindful, be mindful. Full of the promise, full of the true knowing. All the other stuff, remember, that stuff that needs to be released. Where was it at? Yeah, the trash, throwing away the trash, taking out the trash. And that trash comes in the form of fear, doubt, insecurity, what else? Oh, disgruntledness. Is that what he is right now? He's like frustrated and aggravated because he's dying to go know what's outside. But if it were somebody going to feed him, they would come open the door for him. That's how it works in this house. So, or they would yell, or they would text me and I would see it on the screen. So he just needs to relax. I'm trying to teach him to trust me. Okay. So in knowing that that promise is true, you undergo a test of endurance, of how long you can hold that connection to your true frequency, your core frequency, which is the only frequency that is directly connected to the source of all frequency and lack thereof. Well, what is the source of all frequency? Honestly, it is the void. It is the nothing, the hollow, the empty, whatever you want to call it. It's actually the most powerful place to be. Which is also the present. You know what you know. And you know that, you know when people around you know that they know. Like, how is it that you can, this one always gets so confusing. So it's like, you know what you know. And you accept what you know because you're keeping this promise, right? And so you're getting rid of all the qualities, attributes, whatever expectations that you may have. And you're just learning to enjoy the journey, learning to take things one step at a time, one day at a time, 1 hour at a time, one breath at a time, however fast or slow you want to go, 1 year at a time. Maybe 10 years is too much right now for you. Maybe 5 years is too much. Maybe 1 year and 1 day or 1 minute or 1 second is too much, but 1 year is perfect. Then okay, imagine that 1 year. You will feel, see, think, know, understand, there isn't a freaking word for it. I don't know what it's called. You will just know. Knowing. Oh, knowing. You're going to reach a state of knowing. Oh, how exciting. And that's where you, yes. So see in the Four of Cups, this is God trying to bring this little dude here on the card. the beautiful cup of whatever you want. I'm just reaching out my hand to you. You're picturing a cup in my hand because you're staring at the 3 cups that you have here that you're not happy with. For all you know, that's not a cup. That's a house. That's a job. That's a lover. What is it for you? 7 of Cups, an illusion first. Because when you think you know what you really want, it shows itself to you in the way that you imagined it. And then you start to see tiny fractures. That's another song. I don't know who sings that one either. Oh, Tiny Fractures. It's an EDM song. It's beautiful energy. It's high energy. So maybe you're high energy and you at this time, and I said this in a reading further back too, you could have so much energy at this time that you just don't know what to do with yourself. And so you could be talking more. You could be moving more. You could be feeling more restless. Okay. In whatever way it is for you. For some of you, it will be physically, and for some of you, it will be, or manifest physically, and for others of you, it will manifest emotionally, right? Maybe you just need to just admit something to yourself, right? Just be honest. Maybe you need to speak honest with yourself. Go stand in the mirror, look yourself in the mirror, and just look at yourself. Think whatever you think. Feel whatever you feel, say whatever you say, but look yourself in the mirror. Look in each of your eyes. Look at your hairline. Look at your bone structure. Look at everything. It's zooming in now, showing literal pores. I'm seeing some with like a hair coming out. It's how the different ways that a pore can be seen when it's like that micro photography where it zooms in, it like really picks up all these things, like looking at life through a magnifying, not a magnifying glass, sorry, a microscope. The like sciencey, they're so cool. Everybody should have access to those. In a perfect world, everyone would have access to all of the highest technology, because what one has, all should have, if you are truly coming from source. Because then you know and you can acknowledge that it really is possible for your dream to come true. So guess what you have to also accept? You have to also accept that it's possible for everyone else's dreams around you that you ever come in contact with, for however long you're in contact with them. It's possible for them to get everything they've ever dreamed of too. Right? And maybe it didn't happen to them before it happened to you. Maybe it happened to them after. But you at some point lose that perfect picture, because remember, when we get the perfect picture, it is then changed. And it's because we find ourselves attaching to such minor little spirals of source, every connection. It's like a desperation for the true knowing. Because at this point, we are all very thirsty for just the truth, for that knowledge. Because we all know that knowledge is power, right? So you know that you need to acknowledge, oh, great, another cup. But if you react it that way, look at what you just sent out. You know it's possible that you get a divine offer. Let's just see the cup as like a divine offer, something that magic that just bursts into your life, right? And it feels good when it happens, and it makes you want more, right? But it is limited. It's like a sample. And so then you're given another sample that's similar, but not the same, right? Even though they might look, feel, even taste the same, I assure you, the formulation is different. Then you've got the one that could be coming in. What do your dreams look like? And why is it that sometimes your dreams that felt like they should have been like a dream felt more like a nightmare? Even though thinking about the dream, and life seemed pretty sweet in the dream, right? What was off? Why was that off? What did it make you feel? It made you feel called to more truth, to more guidance. The only way to get that is to go back to that promise, that magical waterfall of, I'm getting like the fountain of youth. And what is the fountain of youth? The fountain of youth lies within. And it is that deep knowing of who you are and where you came from in a way that cannot be described with words nor actions. It's almost like it's an acceptance of knowing that things won't make sense to anybody else, but they do to you, you know, and you know that so long as you hold on to that as within, so without, you know that that's how we call the energies in, okay? And the longer you can stay in that from that pure state of mind, it doesn't matter. Listen, it's not, let me tell you the truth here. This is a millionth of a millisecond, whatever the most minute fraction, whatever of time keeping, that's all it takes. That's all it takes. And then it grows. It grows into so much more than can even be imagined. So not only you can't fathom this, but no one around you can fathom this, right? And what is that? Well, what is coming in that can't be fathomed? And maybe it's because you might have, yeah, it feels, I'm sorry if I trigger you with this, but it feels like you were insecure in the past. You weren't very confident. And I feel like maybe that used to make you cry, or it used to make you mad. That it was just, it completely threw you out of the state of mind where you're balanced, right? Where you're, the knowing, the knowing, that knowing of that what? Of the promise within. Confirmation verb. The knowing that pleasure is a part of life, and so is pain. Yes, we know this. Well, which one do you feel more called to, right? Do you want to have, you know, for some of us, it's quite exciting to be in an environment where there's just so much conversation about this, that, or the other. But then there are others who would be kind of like, oh, just okay, you know, like the vibe would be off for them, right? Because it's different, and that's okay. It doesn't have to be the same. It's about that promise within you. And yeah, I feel like maybe, okay, maybe you used to get really upset if you would lose someone in life. You would feel like, oh, what did I do to deserve this? Or why does this always happen to me? Or, you know, I deserve better than this, but everybody keeps, it's always the same, things never change, right? Be careful with that, because when you're saying that, though I understand you have to embrace it, to acknowledge it, and to be able to be guided to accept it, but don't get lost in the sauce. I should have added more chocolate. Oh, it's so good though. That is, the message is just repeating, guys. I feel like that's it. I mean, it's already been 34 minutes anyways. Remember the promise. What promise? The promise you felt from within. That deep knowing. What was the promise? The promise was the deep knowing that you received. What was the deep knowing that you received? It's some sort of epiphany about you, yourself, and you. That's it. You, yourself, and you, like me, myself, and I, right? That's just what it is. It's like, I'm getting now, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. So you're seeing where things, how do I translate that saying? It's often used when what's good for the goose is good for the gander. So what's good for you is good for this person. And what's good for this person is good for you. And for everybody else, right? Like it literally starts with where's your conflict at right now, right? Where's your conflict at right now? Well, whatever's best for you is best for that person, right? And sometimes we are called to quietly pull back and just observe. We've already stated what we knew. And we're not going to get lost in the sauce and become the thing that was so holding us back. We're going to release that because we know the promise. And the promise is what? Is that you can have everything you want. That's what a new beginning is. We chase new beginnings, not for one little change. No, we chase new beginnings because new beginnings, whether they be a physical move or a mental move or an emotional move or a move of a power move. I'm getting like a power move. It's a power move. It's the best way that you can describe it. When you remember that the promise is real and you can acknowledge that, even if it's for that smallest fraction of time, you are in that frequency. You connect to it. You feel it. You know it. You think it. All of the above, right? Tick, 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 ticks all the boxes. That's all you need to know. You know that it's coming. You know it's just a matter of time. You know this. You literally know this. And in the time that it takes to come in, that is the time where you're taking out the trash, right? And what's the trash? The trash is knowing wherever you feel you quote unquote messed up, or wherever you feel other people in your life that you came into contact with messed up or fell short, right? And it can be in the most simple of interactions. You could just be learning, well, maybe I do think it's nice if the person ahead of me were aware, situationally aware enough to acknowledge that there could be somebody behind them, because they can just sense there's someone behind them. Well, you can sense they're behind you, but what if they don't have an arm to reach out to the door for, and they're, just focusing on walking. So they're not necessarily rushing. They're walking at a regular pace that would seem like everybody else. But you can't actually see what's going on. You cannot, what's the word? Comprehend, or not comprehend, not that word. It's like you can't see it, but you can't sense it either. That's what I remember when I said earlier, that because nobody can, not even those around you. Like maybe somebody thinks that they've got it because, they're carrying it and they've got it, and then they get to the door and they realize, shit, I really can't let this go here and hold it just like this, like I thought I could. And so you're walking and you just open the door and you just think to yourself, maybe I should look back. I don't need to look at it. No, look back. Yeah, you had a gut feeling to look back. Look back. Look back. Oh my goodness. They're carrying a lot of whatever. Maybe it's bottles. Maybe it's, books. Maybe it's furniture, right? Whatever it may be. Maybe it's just a bunch of papers. You have any idea how heavy papers are? Like books are really heavy. Deceptively heavy. Oh my God, water, deceptively heavy. What in the world? Anyways, you just decide to open the door. Well, guess what? That was an unexpected surprise for that person, because you did not seem like you were paying any attention to anyone behind you, but because you trusted your gut, you just looked around and you saw it, and suddenly you realized, oh, that little tingle that I sensed, that I felt, let me know there may possibly be something of concern behind you. Maybe it wasn't that. Maybe it was that the person behind you was fine walking. Maybe they acknowledged you, but you see someone coming in out of the corner of your eye that's going to crash into them. And so you move them out of the way, right? Or you alert the other person and you like prevent that from happening. It's like you are the angel in the situation. You are the divine intervention when you just go with your gut, when you just exist. You just exist. You just partake in existing. This is why they truly do say that everything you do comes back to you. Literally everything. The most minor thing, okay? And it's not always easy to embody the energy that you want to receive, but it is always important, because that's a part of the promise, is the longer you can truly feel this while thinking it and knowing it, knowing that it's going to come to you, and having that faith and holding steady, knowing that, you know what, there are things that I need to see before I can get to there. There are things I need to get rid of before I go there, right? Things that I think that, aren't real, or things that I thought were real but turned out to not be. It's like you're learning where to invest your energy to keep yourself being that dominant driving force, where you're still, it's like you're the one giving off little fractals. You're the one giving off little sparks of life that come into people. So people could be shifting in the way that they interact with you just as a whole now. Maybe you're noticing now more that more people do hold the door for you, or or support you in whatever way that you've always been supportive, always been considered, always been all-knowing, right? Things are aligning now. And when they align, it's because everything is moving so fast, so synchronistically, that it seems like everything is just standing still. I hope that made sense. Know that you are at a point of taking the steps necessary to release the things that you need to release, to make it even easier on you to fully embody whatever that dream energy of yours is. Okay? And when you do that, you're going to little by little increase. And sometimes there's going to be big jumps. Okay? Don't let the big jumps make you forget the beauty of the little steps. Okay? All right, guys. He's too antsy, and I've been going long enough, and the message is literally just repeating. Okay? Keep the promise. The promise you felt within you, the promise you know within you, the promise you feel within you. Okay? Someone, you need to hear this. You deserve everything that you want in this life. Sometimes what we need to learn and see is how to refine that to really see what it is that we were wanting. Kind of like someone pulling a rock out of the earth, and then they go through cleaning it, and maybe they tumble it or polish it or whatever it is that they do, and then they see it in a completely different light. Something that didn't seem very significant or precious at the time has now become a true gem. Okay? Love you guys. I'll see you in the next video.